So every year in the month of March, the state of Georgia, remember there is a country called Georgia, and then in the US, among the 50 states, there is a state called Georgia. So from Tennessee, you move to Alabama, and then you go to Georgia, after Georgia, Florida. So in the month of March, what the Georgia government has an initiative where they make sure that everybody from the high school level moving to college get an application fee waiver to apply to almost all the universities and colleges in the state of Georgia. Then what happens is that because these institutions are waiving or taking off the application fees, you as an international student can also take advantage and use their waivers to apply. So there are some of them that will require that you type in an application fee waiver. There are some of them because as the application fee waiver month, you don't have to pay anything. You can apply for free. Remember, the whole idea is for domestic students. So it means that not all the universities or colleges are going to waive it for international students. So you need to find out whether the college or university you are interested in, which is located in the state of Georgia, is waiving the application fee, or you can request for it. So let me share my screen real quick. So if you go to this website, it's called GA Futures. They have listed all the universities or the colleges in the state of Georgia waiving the application fee, and the code if it's required. So for example, Albany State University, the waiver code is RAMS apply 26. However, if you're applying to Agnes Scott College, that one is the fee is automatically waived. And there is also an email that you can easily reach out. So please understand that the waivers are for people in the US, so they are domestic students. You as an international student, you can ask the admissions committee, the application, the director of the program you are applying to see if this code applies to you. So if you go to Central Georgia Technical College, the code is March 26. So there's a lot of universities and colleges in the state of Georgia, and if I arrange it alphabetically, so all the way from Agnes Scott, you go to Athens Technical College. And recently I was in Georgia, so I was at Georgia State University. This is their waiver code as well. This applies to first year applicants. So freshmen, or if you have a high school qualification, if you are also a graduate student, remember you need to ask. There is a university called Point University. The fee is automatically waived. Savannah Technical College is March 26th. And then if you go all the way to Young Yaris College, it is automatically waived. West Georgia Technical College is March 26th. So take advantage of this application fee waivers. The reason why we come your way with some of these waivers is because if you convert the application fee in your local currency, sometimes it could be a little bit expensive. And, there are times where you need a means of payment, which is either a Visa card or MasterCard, PayPal, or maybe some kind of means of payment, credit card, that may not be accessible as at the time or at your current location. So for a typical example, if you're in Africa, PayPal does not work for you. So if you are able to get some of these waivers, it takes away the burden of application fees from your shoulders. Also, because you're not applying to only one university, it reduces the amount you have to spend only on application fee. Remember, they waiving the application fee does not guarantee automatic scholarship. So to know whether the department or the program you're applying to would also each give you a scholarship, remember that's where the issue of communication comes in. Talk to the director of your program, talk to the admissions committee, ask about the financial aid office, ask about the scholarships they have available. So this is the Study Abroad podcast. This is a way of introduction. Today we are going to have several sections. Remember that there will be segments in the program. So we'll have the interview section. We have application, University of the Week from the UK. Ben will present that. And then we have the University of the Week from the US. Aaron will come your way with that. And then my co-host is going to be Helen Kekeli, who will be interviewing our guest for today. So remember, if you are working on your visa application by now, then it means that, you probably have gotten to a extent where you are scheduling an interview. So at the moment, there is no interview date. As I speak, today is 7th March. When you pay the visa application fee in the AVET portal, especially in Ghana, there is no date in the calendar. Don't panic. That's not a problem at all. So what you have to understand is that you can actually, check the calendar, join mock interview platforms. Whenever there is date, you have an opportunity to select it. So if you've paid the visa application fee and then you're not getting a date, it's not a problem. Please relax. You will definitely get a date when it becomes available. Your school is starting in August. And then now you have gotten your I-20, just pay the visa application fee, create the Avitport, the DS1C application, submit it, and then you can join mock interview platforms, prepare and be searching for, whenever date becomes available, they'll post it for you to know. Let's move on to the next section of the podcast, which is the University of the Week, which will be presented by Ben. Ben, how are you doing and how is the UK?
Yeah, Fred, by the grace of God, everything is fine.
Is it still cold or is it still raining? And I watch football and it's still raining in the UK.
Yeah, for UK, I think the last time I said we can have 4 seasons in a day, so it's normal.
I see. Let's talk to us about which school are we looking, which university in the UK are we looking at for this week? Talk to us about the University of the Week, this week.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the opportunity. All right. Hello, viewers. I send you greetings from the UK. Today, I want to talk to you about one university that I recently came to know about. I think more times people say that it's very expensive to study in the UK, but the truth of the matter is every year UK keeps on receiving new international students. So this means that people have discovered some of the ways to come and study. So doing my research, I came across this university that it has one of the lowest fees that you can ever think of. Today, I want you to get your calculator so that we can do some small comparisons so that you can judge for yourself. So the school I want to talk about is Fred, can you see my screen?
Your screen is very visible. Please go on.
Okay. So the school I want to talk about today is known as York St. John University. It is one of the public university in the UK. And of course, it is located in New York, and New York is very, very close to London. So doing my search, what I found out that I want to share with you is the affordability when it comes to the payment of fees. If you check most of their program, what happens is that you can pay as low as 11,800 for the year. For master's program, 11,800 pounds. 11,800 pounds, which is one of the cheapest fees you can ever get in the UK. To get a school that you are supposed to pay 11,800 pounds. Now, this is the issue. Somebody may say that 11,800 pounds is very expensive. Try and then do the conversion into your local currency. And then I'm trying to be a bit biased today. Then let's try to compare to a deficit in US, which is let's say 40,000 USD. Which one is cheaper? So you can do the calculation in your local currency and then you judge for yourself. So I want to quickly run you through some of the programs for the master's program so that you can see for yourself. So they have for master's program, they have either 1 year full-time or 2 years part-time. So we have the postgraduate thought programs and then we have the research program. So it depends on the one that you are interested in. So let me quickly look at some of the postgraduate thought programs that you can you can see how the fees and other things go. So I want to find one school and one program for you. Let me check. So they have a program like MSc in computer science, and it's 1 year, and the fees is 11,800. I want to show the screen, but it's not taking me to where I want to show you. But notwithstanding, I've shown this school on the screen so you can also check for yourself. And one good thing about the application is that as soon as you start with the application process, they will connect you with an agent in Ghana. Or, for instance, if you are applying from West Africa, they have agencies in most of the West African countries. So depending on where you want to apply from, then they will quickly connect you to the agency. Then you start the application process from them. So that is one good thing with their process. So you don't have to stress yourself putting all your documents together. And the agency is such that they support you from the time of the application till your visa is approved. So they will guide you step by step as to the documents you will need. So you don't have to struggle. All that you have to do is just to show interest, make the initial application, and then they will connect you to the agency for the agency to support you. And you don't have to pay the agency a penny. You don't have to pay them even one pesewa, because they have been employed by the university to assist you through. So it's a stress-free application. And of course, as I told you, to get a school that gives 11,000, that the tuition is 11,800 pounds, is one of the cheapest you can find in UK. And then if you are lucky, you can win higher achievement scholarship, which goes for 2,000 pounds. So if you're able to get that 2,000 pounds, then what it means is that automatically your school fees will be scaled down to 9,800, which of course is one of the cheapest. The problem is that before you get your cars, which is equivalent to I-20 in the US, yes, the document, the admission document you use to apply for your visa, you have to pay a minimum deposit. And I think this is where the challenge is. And you pay somewhere 5,000 pounds. But this is where most of us, we find it very difficult to apply to the US schools. And without the minimum deposit or the initial deposit, you can't be given the cars for you to apply for your visa. So other than that, I think York St. John is one of the cheapest and affordable universities that anyone who wants to think of studying in the UK can give a try to the university, check some of their courses, and then see the ones that they may be interested in and apply. And I'm sure you are going to enjoy studying in the UK. But of course, let me be clear with you, it's not all their fees that are 11,800. I wanted to show from the screen, but for some reasons, I couldn't show. So one thing that you need to understand is that most of the courses charge more than 11,800. However, most programs, especially for the international students, is 11,800. So in case you see a program that is not charging 11,800, don't say Ben has deceived me. That's why I want you to be clear. We have most of the programs that charges more than 11,800. However, most of the programs, especially the 1-year degree postgraduate taught, the 1-year postgraduate taught programs goes for 11,800. So if you still have the interest and the passion to study in UK, you can try this school. As we are speaking now, admission is still ongoing, so you can try. And then one thing you have to also notice that they have two campuses, the York campus and then the London campus. So it means that depending on the program that you are going to read, you can either study in London or you can study in the York City. So to those of us who join us today, this is the University of the Week from the United Kingdom.
All right, thank you so much, Ben, for giving us the University of the Week. YSJ York, York St. John's University is located in York, and it was established in 1841. So thank you so much for coming through with that. All right, so we are moving on to, so the University of the Week for the UK edition is York St. John's University, which is located in York in England. It was established in 1841. We are moving on to the next section of the program. Remember that, if you are working on your study abroad process, you may need to make some form of payment, either your application fee, your service fee, visa application fee, or maybe you have to pay, an enrollment deposit, right? So if you need assistance in doing any of this, remember the Fred Effect team can support you to do that. This is a trusted brand, and so it's easier if you are connecting with somebody who have been in the game, in this game for a very long time. Link up with the Fred Effect team on Instagram. All you need to do is to send us an Instagram message. Hey, I want you guys to assist me make payment for my service fee, my visa application fee. Will help you make life easier, for you. So let's move on. We are coming your way with another one, which is the University of the Week from the US. Aaron, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Great. I'm okay. Talk to us about the University of the Week. Which university are we looking at in the US this week?
Okay, great. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be part of this very panel, to also share knowledge with your audience and everyone watching us. You are welcome to one of the biggest study abroad channel that is currently existing. That is the Fred Effect YouTube channel, and he has a lot of followers. And so you are at the right place because we share great information over here. So today we'll be looking at a university that is known to be in the Iowa city, and that is the University of Iowa. So when you come to the US, one of the things that I really love about the United States of America is, currently speaking, they are accumulating more international students than any studying destination. Talk of Canada, talk of UK, talk of Europe. If you talk of US is one of the biggest people who hold the international student population. And that is because there are thousands of schools in the US. And most of them, about 99% of them, give scholarships. And aside scholarships, there is something they call graduate teaching or research assistantship. And that is only for people who are coming in for graduate studies, whether being a master's program or a doctoral program. With those who are coming for undergraduate, you don't qualify for an assistantship, a teaching or a research assistantship, because you are now starting a bachelor's degree. And so you don't have much experience to be able to teach people or do research with other professors. So today we are looking at the University of Iowa. Let me quickly share my screen so that you can see. Just a minute. So share screen. And Fred, let me know in case you are able to see my screen being shared.
Yes, we can see your screen now. Please go.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we'll be looking at the University of Iowa that is located in Iowa City. This university was founded in the year, I think it was founded in the year 1847. Yeah, in the year 1847, and it's one of the oldest and largest university in the state. And one thing I love about this school is that their acceptance rate is 83.6%. Now, let me explain this to a layman in terms of numbers. So when we talk of 83.6%, it means that out of 10 people applying, the chances is that 8, or let me say 9, approximately 9 people will be given or offered an admission. That is the acceptance rate that we're talking about. Or maybe out of 100 people that apply for a particular program, out of that 100 people, there is a chance that 83 of them will go through getting admission. Now, let's look at some of the programs. So if you come to their website, this is their website. And so the first thing you want to do as an international student when you want to study in the US is when you open a school's website, first of all, go to their academics. You want to see if they offer the program that you want to do. So with the University of Iowa, you come to their areas of study. So you click on their areas of study, and then you scroll down. So it gives you for undergraduates. So over here, you see undergraduate academic areas. So with the areas, we have the business, economics, and then management. And under it, you see explore programs. So if you click on explore programs here, it's going to give you all programs that are offered in the field of business, economics, and management. You scroll down, it comes to education. You scroll down, it comes to engineering and computing. So let's look at some engineering and computing. So let's click on this very link, explore programs. So these are programs under engineering and computing. These are some of the programs that they offer. Biomedical engineering, they offer chemical engineering, they offer civil engineering, they offer computer science. So quickly, let's go back. So these are some of the programs they offer for the engineering and computing. Then we have health sciences, we have languages, culture, and society. And then we have life and natural sciences. Now let's look at this is my area, math and quantitative sciences. So these are some of the programs that they do for people who are coming in for undergraduate studies. Now let's look at some programs for the graduate studies, and then we look at one vital thing that I want everyone to take note of. So let's look at some of the graduate programs that they offer. So you click on this link, and then it takes you to the programs that they offer. So you have accounting. And with the accounting, they have a master's in accounting, and then they also have a doctoral program in accounting. And we have acting. So people who are into acting.
All right. So Aaron, we lost your voice. I don't know what is happening, but yeah. Let's see. So we are still looking at the University of the Week from Aaron Inspires. Let's see if we can have you on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Aaron, I think this is better now.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So still on the program, that's the graduate program. So these are all programs that they offer. So the first thing I advise people to do is when you get a school website, go to where they offer the programs to see if they have any program that like you are interested in or you want to do. So let's assume you are interested in applied mathematical and computational sciences doctoral program. So let's click on that. And I have one friend from Ghana who is currently doing this program and is fully funded, living in doing this very program. So when you click on the program, it gives you the admission requirements. And this is one of the key things you want to take note of. So when you get to the program that you want, you are setting on the program you want to do. Now you want to look at what are the admission requirements. Now the admission requirements, so apart from the admission requirement, the other thing that you also look at is what are the application deadlines. This one is very vital. Why? Because you don't want to go and spend your money or your resources at a place that is not going to accept you. That is when the admission or the application deadline is over. So if you look, they don't wait for this very particular program, which is the doctoral program for applied math and computational sciences. They don't do for spring semester. They don't offer for summer session. They only do for fall semester. And the deadline is January 15th. So you know that if you are beyond January 15th, then it means that you can't put in this very application. So currently speaking, you can't put in this application for the fall 2026, come to fall 2026. So if you want to target this very program, you want to look at fall 2027. So that is how you are able to find the admission requirements and then also the programs that they offer. Now, one of the key things that you want to look at is what we call graduate assistantships. And I want to stop sharing this screen and then share one more screen to you. So because you want to be able to, know how to pay your fees. And that is very vital because if you convert how much you are supposed to pay, if you should be in the US and you are paying out of pocket, that is going to be very expensive. Now, you come to, so what you do is after you are setting on which school you are going, and we know, so I'm using University of Iowa, this is the University of the Week for the US session. Now you go to your Google search and then you just type in graduate assistantships for programs in the University of Iowa. And it's going to give you this very first link, which I've clicked on, and because of time, yeah, so this is it. And this is what it looks like when you open the graduate assistantships portal. And it tells you all that you need to know about the graduate assistantship that they offer. So you can click on this very link here, which says open graduate assistantship page. So you click on this very link, and then it takes you here. Now, like I said, they only offer assistantships for people who are coming in for graduate. That is why it's graduate assistantship. So people who are coming in for graduate studies, whether master's or doctoral programs. And then over here, there are a lot of things that you can do, because this is where they post their jobs. This is where they post their jobs. So you click on this very link over here, and then it takes you. So these are current job postings that are available. So if you see currently, we have the posting ID, we have the department. So this is a Department of Special Collection and Library. And this is a graduate research assistant. This is a graduate research assistant. And it tells you the position description, what you'll be doing, some typical responsibilities that you'll be doing. And what I tell people to do is you go through this and then you compare it with your resume. What do you have on your resume? What are some of the qualifications that they are looking for? And this is something that they are, is current for fall 2027, fall 2026. So if you are already in the school or you have already gained admission, these are places that you want to visit. Okay, so I always tell people, don't look at only your department. Don't look at only your department. Maybe your skills will be off, can fetch you a job or a graduate research or a teaching assistant at a different department. So this is the library. Okay, this position is at the library. But then maybe your program you are doing a mathematical sciences program. You can still apply for this as long as your the skills they are looking for, you have it. You put in an application, you get this, and then automatically you have a job offer. And the job offer allows you to also get some of your tuitions waived for you. So today, these are the things that I want you to know. First of all, get the program you want to do. Go to the admission requirements to know the deadlines, to know what they are requiring from you, whether they require GRE or they don't require GRE. You know all these things from the tabs that I was showing you. And then after that, you want to go to Google search and type in graduate assistantships at the University of Iowa. And it's going to give you a link, and then you enter there, find out some of the assistantships that are available to you that you can apply to. And like I said, don't only focus on your department. You can look at other departments as well, as long as you have the skills to be able to execute the responsibilities that they require for such a position. And to end and to conclude, the admission fee for this very university is cool $100 for international students. So if you're coming in to study in this very university, you want to prepare in terms of your finances, because that is kind of moderate. Some universities charge as high as $150, others also charge around $65. So yes, just prepare. And as long as you know you stand a chance of getting an assistantship there, it's a good investment that you can do for yourself, because it will go a long way to help you. Thank you very much. And this is the University of the Week for US session.
Great. So thank you very much, Aaron, for bringing us the University of the Week in the US. So University of Iowa, please understand that University of Iowa is located in Iowa City. And then Iowa State University is located in Ames. These are two different institutions. So today we looked at University of Iowa. Interestingly, I was driving through Colorado, so Nebraska, then you enter Iowa. So I drove through this university, and it's a very beautiful campus. And yeah, it's great if you get opportunity to apply there. Thank you very much, Aaron, for coming through with the University of the Week, which is University of Iowa, located in Iowa City in the state of Iowa, IOWA, just in case you want to know how to spell that. All right, so we are coming your way with the interview section. My co-host will be Helen. Hi, Helen, how are you doing? Your microphone is muted, if you can unmute it. How are you doing, Helen? Helen, can you hear me?
Hi, Fred, I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is better. How are you doing? Helen, can you hear me?
Hi, Fred, I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Okay, so there's a bit of There's a bit of
I'm.
echo.
Hi, Fred. I'm doing good.
Okay, let's see if you can fix that. There's a bit of echo. If you can exit and rejoin, then we see how best we can get it through. So yeah, we are coming your way with the next segment of the program, which is the interview section. So as you know, the podcast is set up so that we invite individuals who have been through the study abroad process, so that they share with you their experience, their journey, how did they apply to these universities, how did they get scholarship, what were their qualification, how much did they spend on the process, what scholarship did they get that you can also apply to. So that's the main reason for the Study Abroad podcast. It makes it easier if somebody was able to tell us how they did something. It makes it easier for you to also follow and probably do the same. It might not be the same program you're looking for, but the strategy is practically the same. All right. So this week, remember that if you join the session and then you comment, you like, you follow, you automatically join the draw. So this week, the question of the week is, if you could ask someone who has been through the study abroad process one question, what would it be? So if somebody is already studying abroad or has studied abroad, you want to study abroad. If there's one question that you want to ask this individual, what would the question be? Type it in the comment section, and then we'll be reading your comments as well. And also, if you have any question about the process, are you starting? Are you confused on how to start? Do you want recommendations on which school to apply to? Type them in the comment section. We'll be happy to respond to you. Remember, the Fred Effect team has a collaboration with Argo Visa. Argo Visa is a team of ex-visa officers. So if you are preparing for your visa interview, make sure that you book a consultation with Argo Visa. If you use the link I'm sharing on the screen, which is rb.gy/KU72VB, you type it in your web browser. All you need to do is you just type that in your web browser, and then you'll be able to schedule a one-on-one conversation with an ex-visa officer. They will go through your DS-160. If it's an immigrant visa, DS-260, and then they will have a one-on-one session with you. If you've been denied before, you really need this section. They will understand the reason why the visa officer denied you, because they are ex-visa officers, and will be able to give you a strategy that you can improve on your profile on your second attempt. So use the link I'm sharing on the screen to schedule a conversation with the Argo Visa team. So let's see if Kekeli can hear us now, and we start with that session. Hi, Kekeli, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you now.
Okay, this is far better. You're looking beautiful. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm good. So people seeing your beautiful face for the first time. You've been on the podcast, but this is the first time you're co-hosting. So talk to us about Kekeli. Who is Helen Kekeli for people seeing you for the first time?
Hey, my name is Helen. I'm an international student here in the US. I am getting my master's in social work. I had my bachelor's in nursing from the University of Ghana, and then after national service, I traveled to come get my master's. I'm almost done, so yeah, that's a little bit for me. I have a TikTok page called Ness Kelly, where I share some information on how to apply to schools and things like that, my little knowledge. So it's nice to meet all of you, and I hope we have a good time today.
Good. Our guest for today is Dr. Kweku Nantechi. For some people, when they get the doc, they start putting it on their profile and all that. You don't have that on your profile.
Okay, I have it on my LinkedIn, but
I see.
Yeah.
Great. Helen, let's take it from there.
Okay, thank you so much, Fred, and thank you, Dr. Nyantechi, for accepting to do this with us today. It's nice to see you. Please add that doctor, because it was stressful. Wasn't the PhD stressful?
Yeah, it was not easy.
I bet. Can you briefly introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you are currently doing?
Okay, thank you. So before I introduce myself, I would like to express my gratitude to the team at the Fred Effect. Fred is larger than life. Fred has, when I came to the US, I've met so many people that told me Fred was the one that inspired them to come to the US. So many people, so we thank Fred for what he's doing to help young people, not just from Africa, Ghana, but all over the world. And I thank him for the opportunity. The whole team at the Fred Effect, including you, Kekeli, as well. So my name is Kweku Nyantechi. They said I should add doctor. So
Please.
Dr. Kweku Nyantechi. And I currently, I'm in the United States. I live in the state of Nevada. And I live in the city of Las Vegas, which is one of the popular cities in the US. So I completed my PhD at Louisiana State University here in the US last year. I defended my doctoral dissertation in August, and I graduated in December. And so I've been in the US for 5 years now. The past January 7th was exactly 5 years since I entered the US. I did my bachelor's and master's degrees in Ghana, and then I did my PhD in the US as well. So I came to the US as an F1 student to do my PhD, which I finished last year. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. If I may ask, which university did you go to in Ghana?
Oh, okay. I did my bachelor's degree at the University of Ghana.
Of course. I just knew there was just something about you that made me feel like this. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see my fellow UG mates.
Legonite, yeah.
Yes, my fellow Legonite, yeah.
Yes. And so, I did my bachelor's at the University of Ghana. My bachelor's degree was in linguistics and geography. And then my master's degree, I kind of shifted a bit to a health science program. So my master's degree was in speech and language therapy, or speech and language pathology, as it's called in the US. And that's what I did my PhD in as well.
Wow.
Here in the US. Yeah.
That's amazing. So what inspired you to like study abroad? I know sometimes people just say, oh, I want to live in America, that's why I came to study, or my uncle lives here and he wants me to come. But for you, what's the story?
So for me, the living in America thing, it was, yes, I had wanted to travel, one day to visit, America, Europe, and all of that. But when I was in undergrad, when I was in Legon, my main goal was to go to study, and then to go to study abroad and come back to Ghana and come and be, a researcher, set up an institute. Because when I was doing my bachelor's, I saw a lot of my professors. The professors studied abroad and they came back and they were winning grants. They were doing a lot of big things. So that was what I was looking at. And after my bachelor's degree, I was a TA. I was a teaching assistant at the Department of Linguistics, where, again, I was inspired by lots of these professors who studied abroad and were going to different countries to present within the semester. And I felt it was very good to, as a scholar in Ghana, to just travel to present at a conference in the UK, in Canada, in the US, and come. So those were the my professors at undergrad, and the professors I worked with during my national service as a TA inspired me to want to pursue studies abroad.
So do you think that inspiration is worth it? And like after coming here and all the things that you have seen so far, do you think that inspiration is worth it?
Yes, that inspiration was very worth it, because I coming here to the US and completing my PhD at my age, I'm not too sure if I would have been able to finish my PhD in Ghana at this age, or like so quickly, because there are lots of opportunities here to build capacity, in the US and in other Western countries. So aside my PhD, I'm also board certified I'm a speech language pathologist with national board certification. So currently I work with children. I work as a pediatric speech language pathologist, which was something I acquired during the PhD whilst I was doing the PhD. So I feel it's very worth it. Looking at the fact that I have the highest certification in my field now, and also both the academic and the clinical one. I feel it's within the 5 years, my coming to study abroad has really yielded a lot of fruits, I would say.
Wow, I'm impressed, to say the least, because I understand the process of like having to get certifications and all of that
Yes.
here. And in speech pathology and therapy,
Yes.
that's a big win. Like, I mean, you are making all the money, and I'm excited. I'm excited to hear that. Congratulations. Let's go back a bit. When you were doing the application process, did you apply to other countries? Did you only concentrate on the US? Were you like, I only want to come to America and that's all I'm going to do? Or were you like, I just want to study abroad. I'm applying to all the different countries that I could possibly get an opportunity.
Okay, thank you for this question. So, when I was briefly talking about my journey, there's one important piece that I didn't expand very well on. So, I I mentioned that I was doing my national service at the University of Ghana, and so during my service, which happens to most people now wanting to study abroad in Ghana, around that time, that's when I decided to now apply to schools because I had finished my bachelor's doing service as a TA with professors around to get recommendation letters. So that was when I actually wanted to travel abroad to do my master's. So um, I I applied to a school in the US. I don't know if I should mention the schools, but yeah, yeah, I applied to New Mexico State University in the US, and then I also applied to another university in the UK. I think two universities in the Heriot Watt University also. I gained admission to all these universities, and another university in Sweden, University of Lund. I gained admission to all these universities, but the problem was funding. At that time, this was around 2017, 2018. Around that time, if GRE was a big thing in the US, so a lot of people were not applying to schools in the US because of the GRE. Like a lot of schools were requiring it for graduate school, even for American citizens. So um, I I look for schools that did not schools that were not accepting GRE. For the US school, I applied for the program. So after I did that, someone told me that, so I think someone studying abroad also told me if I really want to come to the US, particularly, I should um, look at schools that accept GRE and sit down and write the GRE to increase my chances of getting a number of schools and even funding. Some schools tied GRE to funding, so you use your GRE scores to get funding for the UK and then the Sweden schools. I mean it was hard to get funding. You have to put some money in the bank. Someone has to do that for you. The sorry, the process was not very. It was quite complicated. So I was looking at the US because I knew the US had assistantships. So you apply for it and then they'll pay your tuition and all that. So I tried that. I couldn't get funding. So I decided to do my master's in Ghana because I had bought forms to do it in Ghana. And I told myself, okay, let me just do my master's in Ghana. And then when it gets to PhD, I'll just go to the US or any other, uh, Western country to do it.
I really like that. I really like that you did not let the initial funding process deter you from getting your master's in Ghana, because a lot of people like put in applications, and then if they don't get funding, they're like, okay, I'm not doing the masters. I'm waiting till I am able to come to the US to get this masters. But the truth is that your time, it's going.
Yes.
And you could get the same degree in Ghana, which could also increase your chances of getting a PhD. So are you in any way advising people to look at doing masters in Ghana in case they don't have the funding yet, just so that they're preparing themselves for like a PhD program? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, that's I'm sorry, that's a brilliant submission. So it's something I always talk to people about. I encourage people to do their masters in Ghana if they are not getting a school, they are not getting funding. And I personally knew people who had not gotten scholarships to study after their bachelor's. They did their masters in Ghana, and then before they completed their masters, they got a PhD offer. So I had real life examples of people who tried the first time, and especially now that the funding climate has changed a lot here in the US. I would encourage you to, when you are applying to schools, in the US, you need to consider Ghana too. You need to buy Ghana forms so that in case you don't get the masters, you can. Because one thing I noticed is that I help people to apply to schools sometimes. By God's grace, I've helped a couple of people in the last 3-4 years. One thing I've observed is that even schools that tell you they accept bachelor's degrees to the PhD, into the PhD, most of their applicants still have a master's. If you go to the university's website and you look at their doctoral student profiles, you realize that even though a bachelor's degree is the minimum requirement, when you look at the profiles of the doctoral students, international students there, they all seem to have a master's. So it's not failure. I tried to do my master's. I couldn't. I did it in Ghana. It gave me more connections. I met lots of professors, even overseas, because I was chatting with professors, attending seminars. So by the time I was finishing my master's, I was already I was already well grounded in the whole PhD, the US system. So I knew which professors to message. I knew which people to talk to. So yeah, I'll advise people to consider that as well.
That's amazing.
Right. And also, people would sit there and say, I'm working on application. None of this process is 100% guaranteed. So get something doing. So if you're doing your master's and still working on this process, it would even make it easier if you want to get recommendations, and all that. Thank you so much. So if you're just tuning in, our guest is Dr. Kwaku Nantachi, and then originally from Ghana, had a bachelor's and master's in Ghana, and now pursued a PhD, graduated, and is now in the working field. This is the Study Abroad podcast with the Fred Effect. My co-host is Helen Kekeli. So remember, the question of the week is that if you have an opportunity to ask somebody who has studied or is already studying in the US a question about the study abroad process, what would it be? If you comment, if you like, if you share, you automatically join the draw every week. We select one individual and the team will support you to go through the process. So at the end of the session, we will have the draw as well. Also, the Fred Effect team, unfortunately, because of the things we do, there are lots of accounts that are imitating our platform. So we want to make sure that you don't fall prey to any of these scams and all that. Our verified platforms are on YouTube. You have about 180,000 family members. On Instagram, that is the verified platform where you can send us a message. You can even make a call on Instagram. So you can send us your document, anything. So if you want to communicate with us, the safest, the easiest way is use Instagram, and then we'll quickly respond to you. On Facebook, we have over 160 family members. And then on TikTok, it's over 200,000 family members, and then on X we have over 51,000 family members. So if you are contacting anybody via email, if you are talking to anybody on a non-verified account, so our Facebook platform is verified, YouTube is verified, Facebook is verified as well, and then Instagram is verified. If you are talking to anybody pretending to be the Fred Effect, please be careful so that you don't fall prey to. We have instances where some people pay monies to some people pretending to be the Fred Effect. There was an interesting one where somebody sent mobile money to another name. Meanwhile, that's not our account. Please be careful so that you don't fall prey to any of these scams. All right, Helen, we can continue from there.
Yeah, Dr. Nyantechi, this is really great. I am enjoying the conversation. I'm learning so much myself. So talking about the application process, how much do you think it costs, like, throughout the process? Because you mentioned that you applied to 2 schools in the UK, a school in the US, a school in Sweden. How much approximately, if you can still remember, do you think it costs to do all of that?
I would say, I don't know if I can remember, but around 2017, 2018, I think I spent close to about I would say maybe $400 or something for just the application fees, and documentation. And there was one school that I had to email a hard copy of my transcripts to, and I had to pay express and all that. So when I add all that, I think I paid close to, in total of $400 for just application fees and mailing stuff and the whole process for the 3 schools. And yeah, at that time I hadn't written GRE, so I wrote the GRE later when I was doing my master's, and I wrote the TOEFL too. So that also came with another cost when I was doing the PhD one. And yeah.
So definitely, to the viewers, if you are looking to apply to schools, know that you cannot solely depend on application fee waivers, even though the Fred Effect shares some of these waivers. Sometimes if you really want to have options and you want to apply to schools that are you will be eligible to get scholarships and all of that, you want to make the investment. It's an investment, and I feel like you should see it as an investment so that it's not too painful to pay for the money, because in the long run I think it's worth it, even though it's expensive. So definitely save towards it, and make sure that you see it as an investment. Okay, now let's talk about scholarships. So for the PhD program, did you get like a fully funded PhD when you applied? Did your application come with funding, or how was the process like?
Yeah, so my PhD offer from Louisiana State University came with a funding offer in the admission letter. And I don't know for now. I believe it's still kind of the same, but maybe it has changed a bit because of the funding issues we have now in the US. But PhDs usually, like 90% of PhDs in the US are fully funded. And I know it's changing. Some universities have lost some funding and all that. So it wasn't common to get a PhD admission without funding. What happens is some of the schools will send you the admission letter, and then they'll tell you the funding. They'll still be negotiating the funding offer with the college or something, and then the funding letter will come a couple of weeks after the admission letter. But some of them would have the admission letter will come at a time where the funding offer is stated on it, and that was my case. And I tend to have gotten, so I got a tuition waiver. It was a graduate teaching and research assistantship. So I had a tuition waiver, and so I wasn't paying any tuition. And then I also got some stipend, every month, just for upkeep, for bills and all of that. So my airfare wasn't paid for, wasn't catered for. I heard that there used to be some scholarships that would take care of your airfare. There's this, I don't know if MasterCard Foundation does that, Rhodes Scholarship in the UK and all that. Those ones are, they get like 18,000 applicants, for one spot and all that. So some of them do, but largely you you'd have to pay your own, visa fees and airfare. That's what I paid, but I didn't pay any tuition, and then there's fees, there's tuition and fees. That's one thing people get confused over. When you arrive in the US, when they tell you your tuition is being paid for, the tuition is different from fees. Fees is like the kind of like administrative fees or like SRC fees and certain, which is not very large, but those ones usually the school doesn't pay for you. So when you have to pay those ones yourself, but they are not, they are mostly like 10% of your tuition or something, or even less. Yeah. So that one
you're
I
right.
paid. Yeah.
You're right. So that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, is that they think once you get a GTA position and then they say that they are going to waive your tuition, it means that you don't pay any money at all. But there's college, my school, they call it the college tuition. And this is usually like, I mean, your main tuition that is waived is a lot of money, 40,000, 50,000.
Yes.
But this tuition can be around 2,000, 3,000. And as an international student, that's still some significant amount.
Yeah.
But thank goodness for stipends, right? Because
Yes.
that helps a big deal in
Yes.
paying those fees. That's interesting to hear. Dr. Nyantechi, what do you think made your application stand out?
Okay. For me, one thing I think made my application stand out was the fact that I was a TA, after my bachelor's degree, because, and I know that because when I was interviewing for the PhD position, online, the professor I was going to work with mentioned that I was a teaching assistant, and that's very great, because as a PhD student, you'd be given a lot of projects, like you'll be given teaching responsibilities, sometimes research. So if you've worked with professors before, as a TA or an RA in Ghana or in any other country, they feel you are kind of conversant with the climate, the whole climate of working with professors. So it was mentioned to me that because I was a teaching assistant, they felt that I could teach some courses, which I did during my PhD. So that was one of the things. I was also, during my master's, I was also very active in GRASAG, Legon, the Graduate Student Association. I was in the GRASAG Senate, and I was also the editor-in-chief for the newsletter of the Graduate Student Association. So I put all those things on my CV as well, to show that I was engaged in extracurricular activities, not just, I didn't just get my bachelor's degree and then turn in my transcript. So I feel those things kind of, because different people are applying, but then they usually would like to see something special, something you've done, that some community service you've done, internships or any voluntary service and all of that. I didn't have a lot of voluntary service, but I feel the student organizations I was part of and my teaching assistantship experience also helped.
Great. I'm very happy you mentioned that, because every time I tell people that the extracurricular activities that you do will speak more when you are doing these applications than you think. When I finished nursing school, I had written my licensing exams, and in between writing licensing exams and starting my national service, I volunteered with the department. So I was doing grading, I was teaching, I was doing all of that stuff when all of my colleagues had packed their bags and went home. But I already knew what I was doing, because I was like, there has to be more to you than just the transcript. You can have a first class, but what shows that you can juggle other things? What shows that you are a team player? What shows that you are effective at time management? So these are the things. And sometimes during this PhD interviews, those are the questions you get asked. They're like, how do you solve conflicts? And you can say that, oh, when you were in the Senate at this time, when I was in Liman, I was part of I was a floor rep, so I was part of the Liman Senate, and that's one of the things I would use to highlight myself when I was asked about time management and conflict resolution, because in these Senate meetings we argue a lot. So those kind of extracurricular activities and taking up leadership positions, they play a big role than you think. So if you are currently in school and you are watching us, don't just be a student. Don't just go to class, get your first class and everything, but also be involved in your school. If there's like a student association, take up leadership positions, do those things. They really, really matter. They matter than you think.
Yes.
And that's where you also build connections.
Yes.
Because I'm sure as a TA in University of Ghana, that's how you got professors to write you recommendations.
Absolutely.
And all of that came in handy, right?
Yes.
So I always encourage people, build relationship with your professors. Let the professors know you. Don't just be the student that goes to class and gets out of class and your professors don't really know you, especially if you're interested in studying abroad. You have really great points. Thank you.
Thank you. And to add on what you are saying quickly, it's very these extracurricular things are even very important for if you are going to do a research master's or a PhD, because many PhD students are, apart from your teaching and research, sometimes you are put on projects to be a PI, depending on which field you are in. So you are responsible for training undergraduate and master students who come to the research lab. So they want to see that you've done certain things, you've handled positions. That shows that you can handle training, of other junior, academic people in the lab. Because the professor is not the professor that has won a $5 million grant, and it's not the one that is going to sit with the undergraduate students in the lab. You will be trained and you will be responsible for training. So they want to see those things. If you are in undergrad in Ghana, you need to really put yourself into these things. So yeah.
Thank you so much for reiterating that. Let's go on to the next question. What do you think was the hardest part of all of these when you were doing the application process, everything? What do you think was the hardest part?
For me, the hardest part was looking for schools and contacting professors. It's something that is new. If you have not, how the relationship between teachers and professors and students in Ghana, so you don't know how to just email a professor, and then just talk to them. Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, or the coordinators. So it was something that was new. And apart from the fact that it's new, it was also it's very tiring. It can be very hectic, if you want to study abroad and you go through schools and department websites, and it takes several hours of doing that to know what program fits, is the right fit for you, which professor you can work with, which schools even have funding. Those things are, so I have friends who start doing all that and then they stop, because it's too hectic. They go through, but I went through more than 150 or even more schools. So I know so many schools in the US. Like, if someone mentions a school, this school is in Montana, this school is here, they have this program. Because I went through, and that was very hard. I had to sit down, behind the computer for a long time and email professors. Sometimes they will not respond to you. You have to wait. The waiting part is also very hard, because you don't know you've emailed the prof. You find the right university with funding for what you want to do. You meet the GPA requirement and all that, but you send them a message and then 1 week, 2 weeks, you've not gotten a reply, and you wouldn't know whether to follow up or to, that those things are hard in the process. Yeah.
Mentioning that just reminded, my GA positions is admissions and recruitment. So currently I am at the back of the emails that international students usually send. I'm the one responding to you and answering your questions. And it's interesting how you said that it could take a week or two. Now, the problem is, if those professors do not have a position like I have, a GTA position where they have like an admissions and recruitment GA who will be responding to these questions, it takes some time because these professors have to grade, have to teach, have to do research, things like that. So answering emails is not their priority. So it could take a week or two, but don't give up. That's what I tell people.
Yes.
Keep sending the emails, show that you're persistent, show that you know what you are doing, show that you are interested in what they're doing, and you really are ready to make the sacrifice.
Yes.
Another thing that I see usually is that people don't know how to do, and as you mentioned about the fact that in Ghana we know how the professor and student relationship is. You just can't walk into your dean's office and talk to them, but here you can walk to your dean's office and be like, hey, how are you doing today? Do you have coffee? Can we chat? And your dean will leave everything and come and sit with you and chat. That was one of the hardest things I had to learn from here. Because when I came, my dean was like, I really want to mentor students. I really want to talk to international students. Can you pass by my office? And it's so really hard because in my school back then, I saw my dean twice when we had events, or like if there's an important something that they had to come give an announcement in class. But here it's communication is like easier. You have access to them all the time. They're like your friends, things like that. So that's one of the things I think that international students need to learn is how to communicate with professors. Don't go and say, hello, doctor, please.
Yeah, the language.
The language.
Yeah.
That's another thing to show that you're confident, you know what you're talking about, and that you're not begging, that you know you have the skills, you have the knowledge. You just want to improve on yourself. So things like that communication bit is very, very important, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. What do you think you've missed about home?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. So I'm here in the US with my wife, and I have a small family here, my immediate family, and then but most of my family members are in Ghana, like the extended family and even the nuclear family that I came from. And so I miss my family back and my friends, some of my friends in Ghana, because growing up for over 2 decades in Ghana and then moving to a different country, you definitely miss, your family, your friends, your church, members and all of that. And so that's what I would say I miss. For food, I don't really miss food that much because I try my best to do Ghanaian,
Hey, Chef Nyanti.
cuisines there. Yeah. Yes,
try to step up a little bit.
Yes, to give myself that experience. So I miss people, and another thing I miss is just the free life in Ghana. You could just be passing by a neighborhood and then you call your friend. I mean, Kaswa, are you around? And then your friend will come up and meet up with you, or you can meet up with someone somewhere. But here, everything is structured. It's like there's everyone is trying to meet a goal. So you can't just, even if you are going to visit someone, you need to call the person.
Book an appointment.
I have friends in Ghana who, if I want to call them, they are also in the US now. I knew them when we were in Ghana. If I want to talk to them, we have to schedule like 1 week or 2 weeks ahead that, Saturday by this time. And then that's when we'll talk. If we don't schedule, it never happens because when they call me, I'm at work, or the time difference, and all of that. So I miss that too.
Yeah, you're right. I always say it's about the community. It's not.
Yes.
It's really about like the community and people that you have been in conversation with over time, and all of a sudden you have to get away from there and build a whole new community.
A whole new.
That's what's the most difficult part. So now that you're working, I assume that you have, is it OPT or is that something you're willing to discuss? How is that going?
Okay, so I'm currently on OPT, and So when you finish studying, you'd have 1 to 3 years, depending on your field, to work in the US. And then after then, if you don't have your your green card or you don't have a work visa, for
Mhm.
instance, an H1B, O1, and all that, you'd have to leave the country. So I'm currently on OPT and I'm working towards, getting work authorization. I'm actively working towards that. So it's something that really helps. The goal of the OPT was to help. If you studied in the US, the government wants you to use your knowledge to help the country before you go, and so you build capacity in by doing the practical aspect of what you've learned. So you build yourself, and you also build uh, the country. Just like national service in Ghana, you study and then you work for 1 year, and then uh, you use that what you learned. I don't know if people. I think many people in Ghana don't necessarily do service at where they what they studied.
I mean, unless of course you are doing like a health related course,
Yes,
and
a
that
very
have to be
specialized,
like the hospital.
yes,
If you're
area.
saying you have to be
Yes,
in the hospital, if you did medicine, you have to be in the hospital. But apart from that, a lot of people don't really
don't
do.
really, yeah. But
Not
here the OPT here is very the OPT is very specific to when you are applying for it. They are very strict in making sure you the work you are going into relates to what you studied. It's a very stringent thing that they make sure they check. If it's not totally related, let's say you did statistics or math, in your program, in a master's program, and then you can be a math teacher. It's kind of related, though you did statistics, you are not a statistician. So there has to be like a percentage of correlation between like the work you are going to do and then what you studied, else you'd be denied. So yeah, it's for my field was a specialized area. So I had the license, to work directly, on what I studied, or with what I studied. But for people in fields that are a bit more general, I think they need to um, attune what they studied to. There are so many opportunities here in the US, in several sectors, and so you have to attune yourself to where you want to work. Yeah, but it's a good opportunity. The OPT, it's a great opportunity, and many students have used that as a pathway to continue building capacity. To extend their stay in the US and then help the country while they also build themselves.
Yeah, and just so you're wondering what OPT means, OPT is optional practical training. So in Canada they call it postgraduate work permit. In the UK, they call it work after school. So optional practical training. This is optional. So what it means is that you do not necessarily have to do it, but mostly it's a good advantage for you to take if you graduate from your program. And just like Dr. Nantich was saying, if your program is STEM, science, technology, engineering and mathematics, then you can work 3 years. That is a year plus an additional 2 years. But if it's a non-STEM, so Dr. Nantich, is your field a STEM program?
So my field is unfortunately not
Non-STEM.
considered STEM yet.
Okay, awesome.
It's not
Great.
considered STEM. Yeah. So I
Great.
have 1 year OPT.
Great. And if you're wondering what is internship is called curricular practical training, which is the CPT. Yes. So there's a difference between that. All right. You can have your questions in the comment section. We'll be responding to them quickly. And also you can use the link to join us directly and then talk to Dr. Nantich. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to respond to them. Kekeli is in the social science field. Dr. Kwaku, do you have an English name or your name is already Home Ties? Like, do you have an English?
I don't have an English name.
Oh, really?
So yeah, my name is Kweku Nyantechi. Kweku Kakeri Nyantechi. That's my name.
Wow, is it like a family thing? I know some families that go like, we don't want any Brofudin Bia.
Yes, for my nuclear family, yes, my parents didn't give any of us English names. So yes, we all have very beautiful local names.
Wow.
Yeah.
I used to joke with people that if you don't have an English name, that's already Home Ties.
I'm not top of that.
Yeah. Your name is already home ties. Okay. Anyway, so we'll be responding to some of your questions. Helen, we lost you, so if you can fix that and then you come on. We'll be responding to some of your questions in the comment section. Remember, you can also join us directly if you in the studio, if you can, and then you can directly talk to Dr. Kwaku Nantechi. All right, it's been a great section. It's been a study about podcasts with the Fred Effect. Remember, this section will still be live across all our social media platforms. So on Facebook, you can get all the previous episodes and then the current episode we are having over there. Also on YouTube, if you go under the live session, it will be there as well. And then we are streaming live on TikTok too. We are also live on Instagram as well as on X. So whichever platform that you are comfortable with. So we are on X, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So you can check us there. Check us out there. We lost Helen. Maybe Helen will bounce back. But I wanted to know if you were supposed to talk to your younger self, like if you were starting this whole process all over, what would you have done differently, knowing what you know now?
Very interesting question. So, for my study abroad journey, I would have just patted my younger self in the back, and I would have said, "Kweku, you keep moving on." You know, there were times I mentioned when Kekeli was asking the questions. I mentioned that it's very tiring. You know, it's not easy. You know, to sit down and then go through all these schools, and if many people will not do that. They'll tell you if you have, and Fred, you know that because you've helped hundreds of people.
Yeah.
They'll tell you, oh, can you send me a link to a scholarship, instead of sitting down to go through things and watching your videos too. Even like you are, Fred, you are one of the revolutionaries of study abroad, because before your time, it was, you had to do it alone, and there were just few people who charge you or something, but you came in and showed people how to go through websites and all of that. So all those resources are there, but still people don't like to do that because of how tiring it is. So I would have told myself, my younger self, to keep going, because there are times that if you don't hear from the professors, you would be dejected, and you'd be like, oh, so am I, after all the efforts I've put in, especially when you are waiting for admission decisions, it's one of the hard times. Knowing what I know now, I would have encouraged myself to just keep doing that, and not have been deterred even 1 minute. I would have just kept going, because at that time I didn't know the goal. I was confident that I was applying, but I didn't know, like you said, it's not guaranteed. You know, there's so I would have told myself to keep going, and that's what I'll tell people who are in that shoes now.
Exactly. So I mean, a lot of people do not know that the application itself is like 20 to 30 minutes if you have the background work done properly. When you sit behind the PC, 20
just
if you
upload.
have good. So the work actually boils down to the conversations with professors, researching the schools and all that. Now, interestingly, I love it when people do this, that you have been through a process, you know the process, and you don't gatekeep. So what you do is to also have a platform where you share your details. But I have a problem with you because we've not seen a video for a very long time. Talk to us about your YouTube channel, bro.
Oh, thank you, Fred. Yeah, So, well, how do I even start? I decided to pause my YouTube. Yeah, I started off quite well.
Let's start with telling people that you have a YouTube channel where they can subscribe. What value would they get if they watch your videos that you uploaded?
Okay, so I've made several videos about the steps involved in applying to schools in the US, things to do to get funding, you know, videos and the types of assistantship we have, you know, and all of that. So, and even I've made videos where I name schools that have scholarships and all of that. People still watch my videos, and once a while I get a notification that somebody commented on your video, you know.
Yeah.
But when I the reason I paused my YouTube channel was it got to a point in my PhD I needed to focus on the PhD and then finish my dissertation and then think of other things. So I put a lot of things on hold, you know, for that. And I was thinking when I finish the PhD, I'll sit down and then reorient the channel and see how it will be. And it's been like 3 months since I finished my PhD. So hopefully this year things would happen. So,
okay. So if you're just listening to us, the name of the channel is called Kweku Nyantakyi Prof K. So if you go to YouTube, search for Prof K, we have a lot of insightful content over there that will help with your process. Brother recently made a trip 2 years ago to DC, the application. He shares his journey explaining the process. You see, this whole process is such that normally, you know, there are different ways of getting there. So the Fred effect way is not the only way. You know, the Kekeli way is not the only way. And we all bring rich ideas. So if you are going to watch what Kekeli is explaining on TikTok, if you're watching Prof K's explanation on TikTok, now you see some similarities in all that we are doing. And these are individuals studying in different universities, right? So check out the Prof K YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed, we have over 1.1K, 4K subscribers. We have over 17 videos on the channel. Please subscribe, be part of the family, and it will help with your study abroad process. Bro, thank you for contributing to the knowledge, because people keep what they have, right? So you having the time to have a PhD, have a family, and still be able to share your ideas and information on YouTube is amazing. It's okay if you put it on a hold. You and I know it's not easy.
yes,
It's not easy at all. It's not easy at all. So, yeah, that is Prof K on YouTube. Please, do you have other platforms? Like, how do people reach out to you and all that?
So my on all platforms, my name is Kweku Nyantakyi.
Right.
And so if you type Kweku Nyantakyi on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, that's the name I have on all platforms, Kweku Nyantakyi. I know it's you should be able to spell that. Prof K, I only use Prof K on YouTube, but Kweku Nyantakyi, you'll find me on all platforms. Yeah.
Awesome. So Kekeli, let's get to respond to some questions in the comment section, and also if you want to join us, remember I shared the link on the various social media platforms where you can join us. All right. So Kelly, let's take this one. Let's see if you can unmute your microphone and you can hear us.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I had to change to my laptop, so now the camera quality is like.
No, that's fine. You are beautiful regardless, whether it's camera or no camera. So let's move on.
Thank you. That warms my heart. Okay, so the question is from Nyawenda Jackson Godfrey. He says, Mr. Nyantakyi, how do you compare the process of study abroad during your time and the current time?
Okay, thank you. So the difference that I see is thank you for your question, Nyawenda. So the difference I see is with funding. It's getting more difficult to get funding. I don't know if it will change, but this particular year it was really hard. I heard of cases where current students, international students, lost their funding. They told them next year you are not going to get funding because we got a huge cut from the federal government, you know, these grants that are coming. So that's one difference I see in regards to the journey. So I would recommend you delve deeper, like you go harder when you are looking for funding, and you also widen your options. You don't just apply to one university and then hope you get that university. Sometimes it can work, you know, but you broaden your scope of places you want to apply so that you increase your chances of getting funding. And yeah, so that's one big change I see. And another change is the GRE requirement. I see that there are more schools now that don't require GRE compared to the 2017 through to 2020, that era, a lot of schools were requiring, but now they've waived it off. But one thing I've noticed is that many of the schools that have waived GRE are now, some of them are requiring credentials evaluation to use that in place of the GRE exam. So it's something that you have to pay money to do, but you wouldn't have to study, for so many months to go and write that. So it's something also that has changed a lot, So don't let GRE discourage you. There are a lot of schools waiving it off now, and if you can take it, depending on your field, I would encourage you to take it too. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the answer. We have another question from Osu Godfred. Osu is watching us on YouTube, and he says, "Hello, Dr. Nyantakyi. I'm preparing my documents to pursue a master's degree in SLP. I'm thinking that's speech
language pathology. Yeah.
Okay. I hold a degree in disability and rehab. How challenging is it to get admission without a CDS background?"
That's interesting. So yes, many schools in the US for the speech language pathology program will require you to have prerequisites. So what I would encourage is, if you don't have the prerequisites, since you did a master's, a bachelor's in disability and rehab, you might have a few prerequisites, but if you don't have the prerequisites, you can come to the US to do a master's in your field. That's the disability studies. And then whilst doing it, you do the prerequisites in your coursework, and then transition to do the master's in SLP program. I know people who came from other countries, India, some parts of Africa, and then when they came to the US, they came to do a related program. And so whilst doing it, they took courses in the SLP department to fulfill that requirement. And then after they finished the program, they now did the master's in SLP, which they wanted. So it's one thing they can consider. That person can contact me on LinkedIn, for further conversations about that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank
So that's
you.
the-
Thank you. Godfred,
So-
please contact Dr. Nyantakyi on LinkedIn.
Awesome. So we have Desmond with us. Desmond, please unmute your microphone, and then let's go ahead with your question. Talk to Dr. Nyantakyi. Okay. Desmond is missing now. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I think this is a very basic question, but I would love for us to answer that.
Said, what's the first thing you need to do in your study abroad process? So the first thing you need to do is to sit down and consider what you want to do abroad. So the study abroad process is extensive, but what's the first thing you need to do is to think about what you really want to come do here. What program do you want to come and do? And then, that's the basis. It's like, what program do I want to come and do? At what level? Is this master's? Is it PhD? Things like that. So it's, what do I want to come and study here? That's the first question to ask. Dr. Nyantakyi, do you have any?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That's the first question I ask people when they tell me, I want to come to the US to study. I ask them, what are you coming to study, or what do you want to do? Like, so based on that conversation, the whole bit of what program you did comes in, and what level you want to study. So that's the first thing you need to sit down. And it might look like, your point might look like a light point, but it's very crucial because I always advise people that when you are coming to study you need to know what program you are coming to study. And someone will tell you, I want to do political science, masters or something. But then there's political studies, or there's political economy or something. Sometimes you don't get the name of the course you studied. It's not coined the same way in the university. So some people will go and look at the website and they will see, maybe they are doing materials engineering, they'll see industrial engineering or something. And when they go and look at the courses, they see that it's the same course. So all these things, you need to sit down and know. I tell people that what is the area you want to study. I don't really go by course names. So if you want to do public health, public health, they have public policy, which has public health. It comes in different forms, epidemiology. So what area? That's one thing you need to study, not just the name of the course. So that's the first thing you need to know. Yeah.
I wanted us to talk to Desmond, but it looks like, he is having a challenge joining. Desmond, please unmute your microphone. Talk to Doctor. Hi, Desmond. Okay, so Desmond is struggling to unmute the mic. The unmute button is on your phone where you see some microphone and it's cancelled. Click on it so that it will not cancel, and then you can. Anyway, I think Desmond is struggling to be on. Let's take some other questions. In the comment section. Okay, so okay, let's go on with this.
Okay, so Emmanuel Opong is watching us on YouTube, and he's asking, I have applied to and gotten admission to 3 PhD programs in public administration, but no funding. What am I not doing right?
Okay, Emmanuel, now a lot has changed in the funding landscape, but then when it comes to funding, Fred will tell you on his videos that there are so many options. You don't necessarily have to have a full teaching or graduate assistantship. I know a PhD student that got a service assistantship. They were working in the library to pay their tuition. So I would encourage you to explore on-campus jobs. A lot of professors will not allow you as a PhD student to be doing things outside the lab. But once they didn't fund you, it's something they would allow you to do. So don't think because you're a PhD student, you need full funding, you want to work on research. Feel free to apply to on-campus jobs as well. And you having a PhD, I feel, would give you a certain kind of level. You going into a PhD, already having a master's or something, would so consider those things. And one thing I'll recommend is, before you apply to a university, you need to have a clear-cut map of how their funding works like. So go to the department website, email students. I used to do that. Email students in the university when you see their emails in the department. Try to know, ask yourself, this university, if I get admission right now, am I going to get funding for the PhD? Talk to the professor, be bold. Ask the professor that you are going to work with. There's a PhD in public policy. How can I fund my program? Don't be shy, or don't think, once I get admission, they'll give me funding. When I was applying to LSU for my PhD, I asked my professor, though they had told me, I saw on the website, but at a point I asked during my second video interview with her, I asked her, so when I get admission, is my funding guaranteed? And she assured me that yes, we have funded 100% of students that have come through. So ask bold questions, look for alternatives, and then one thing Fred also has mentioned before in one of his TikTok videos I watched it. Sometimes you don't get funding right from the beginning. I know when in my institution where I did my PhD, I know 2 Ghanaian students who came. One was working as a service assistant with updating computer softwares for my department. He wasn't in my department. One was also doing administrative work. But when they got to their second year, the department now offered them a research assistantship for their PhD research. And then they took the offer. But they didn't get that from the beginning. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I also want to add that once you get your admission letter, some schools have like their apps like Handshake, where they post these service assistantship positions on there. So once you have your admission offer, you can log into your email address. That's one of the, it's a very good resource to have, your email address. You can log on to Handshake and then put in your school's details, and they will recommend to you service assistantship positions or like even GTA positions that are available in your school.
All right, Mohammed, salam alaikum. Okay, Mohammed is gone. Okay, let's see. There are some other questions here that I wanted to look at. Okay, let's see. Let's go through them. I thought we are going to speak to and Doc, you talk about your family. So for somebody who has a family back home now, did you move with your family? Did you come and later on they joined you? How did it go for you?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question. So I moved here first. When I moved here, I was not married yet, but then I was, as they say, I was seeing someone,
Mhm.
in Ghana before I came. So um, I came and then helped her to apply to a school here. Fortunately, she got my university. So whilst I was doing my PhD, she was doing her master's. And then we went to Ghana to get married, you know, within my PhD when she was finishing her master's, and we came back, to continue on the family. And I saw fun fact, and one fun fact about me is that I married a former student when I was my wife was my student and I was her TA, some
Mm.
years back in Ghana. Yeah.
So that thing between TS and student is a bit true, eh?
Uh, well, so yeah, I mean, it's I don't know what you're talking about, but it's
I can see that Dr. Nyanti, she's a very, very smart, very smart and sharp guy.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it was different. I mean, yeah. There's TAs are closer to students compared to
Right.
the in terms of like age and then academic level and all that. So
Mm.
that rapport is there. But I mean, you don't usually hear stories of uh, TAs getting married to students often.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
Some of them
yeah.
are just bad people.
No, I mean, yeah.
any.
So yeah.
Vincent is asking. Vincent Ajumanchuma is watching us on YouTube. Is asking any culture shocks.
Oh, as for cultural shocks, there are a lot. So let me see if I remember. One of the cultural shocks I had is the fact that the animal culture, in the West, the animal culture, in Ghana, and in a lot of countries, in Africa and other parts of the world, we the way we treat animals, like we like animals and all that, but we keep them for domestic, for farming and then for
Mm.
security reasons. But when I came to the US, during my first year, I'll be going to the grocery shop and I'll see people's dogs sitting at the front seat, with them in the cars, and
Yeah.
yeah, I currently where I work, I have a friend. I have not a friend, but a work colleague that has a snake at home.
Mm.
Has a pet snake at home. And she always says that the snake is very sweet and is very nice. So like the kind of culture we have, like in terms of raising animals, like rearing animals, it's different here. Here people keep animals for company. In speech therapy, we have animal assisted therapy, which is not very common, but it's coming up. Some people, due to their conditions, like to go to the clinic with their animals to calm them down, with their dogs, and those other things. So it's one of the major shocks. I used to hear that in Ghana that, oh, people sleep in the same couch with their dogs and all that. But when I came, and one funny story was, I had a friend, I had a course mate, and I went to visit her. We went to her place, her house. She told me she had two kids, and so we were down with our course mates. We were down at the basement, and I was like, I look forward to seeing your kids. And then she came from downstairs, from up. She climbed downstairs from the top floor, and then she came and she was like, "Here," I asked, "Where are your kids? I thought you said you were." And she pointed two cats that were moving down with her. That, oh, these are my kids, my babies. Look at how cute they are. And I was like, "Your kids?" And then she was offended because she didn't understand why I didn't accept those cats as her kids. So it was a shock, like, and I felt sorry for the way I reacted because I felt kids are like kids, but
Yes,
to
yeah.
her, that's her baby. So
Yeah. Yeah. Helen, any culture shock from your end?
Oh, I mean, I agree 100% with Dr. Nyantichi. Mami can you say as a madam for recently I was saying coming I was saying called dog seat like or me birthday me kotina ni fie me hwe ne dog no me money hag ni ade me ye ne duane said be ya on feel bored na on ni birthday ni things like that. Those were shocking initially, but interestingly, now I love their animals. I mean, I enjoy spending time with their pets. But the shocking one was the pet snake. One of my supervisors told me that she had a pet snake for 12 years. I was like, in your house? She said, yes. And they're really sweet. And I'm like, do you allow the snake walk around? I'm like, I can never visit you because what do you mean you have a pet snake? She's like,
Yeah.
wait, people don't have pet snakes in your country. I'm like, no, no. And another cultural shock, I think, is with the community culture. Like, you can go outside and see people and then you just greet them or like you say hello to them, things like that. You can wake up and greet somebody and the person will not respond. And they don't hate you or anything. They just don't, like, people don't really care as much as like in Ghana, people care about your things. Like if you're in a house and you dry your things, your neighbor can run and pick it for you when it's raining, things like that.
Yeah.
Place, like, nobody cares about the next door neighbor. You can live in an apartment with people and you have never seen them before, but they are living in the same apartment complex with you. So it's those kind of shocks that I had initially, and the fact that everything they have has sugar in it.
Yeah.
That was worrisome.
Doctor, what's your favorite restaurant? I know you mentioned you cook, and because you have family here, maybe eating outside is not your thing. But what's your favorite restaurant so far?
Favorite restaurant. So my favorite restaurant here in Las Vegas is there's an Italian restaurant called Don Vito's at South Point Casino. Yeah, it's a very good. And then to more popular restaurants that are more chain in the US, there's a popular chain restaurant called Texas Roadhouse Barbecue, and it's in so many states. I love their food.
That's Helen's favorite too. So
do you like the food? Do you like the bread rolls? The dinner rolls?
The bread. I always it's
that's the main reason why I go there.
Yes, their bread is so nice.
I think we've been giving them some free advert. Texas Roadhouse. If you are watching this comment,
yes, they need to come sponsor.
Because international student. I had a family, and then they asked me where I want to go to. Always, I want to go to Texas Roadhouse because I get their bread and maybe, and I'm done. I'm cool,
And their steak is good. Their fries,
their rice, they have
a little bit expensive, but I think it's worth it. Once a while, So what do you say? Elijah is saying that Dr. Nyantakyi seems organized. That's great. He's organized. He seems okay. Thank you, Elijah, for coming through with that. Great job. Vida Novi Havo is watching us on Facebook as well. And these are all we can pick for today. The people who wanted us to, communicate to us directly, they came on, but we couldn't pick them. Maybe network issues. We'll do that the next time. All right. Any final words for us, Doctor? Thank you. We really appreciate your time for coming on.
Thank you, Fred and Kekeli. I really enjoyed this conversation. I really enjoyed my time here. So the final words, and then I'll give one or two shout outs. So my final words would be to anybody that is applying, to anybody outside the US trying to apply to a university in the US. It's very doable. Fred has helped so many people to come. He and his team. I've also helped a few people by giving recommendations. It's very doable. There are tens of thousands of Ghanaian students studying here. So don't give up. You need to talk to the right people, watch the right videos, ask for help. Ask for help. It's very important. So that's one thing I would say. Because there are certain things that somebody has experienced in their journey that you would experience. Sometimes you talk to someone that, oh, when I was applying to a school, somebody told me I can get a waiver, and then just because of the country I come from. And these things, when you are applying, sitting behind the computer and applying, you might not see it. But then when you listen to the Fred Effect, or you talk to people who are here, maybe you know someone in Georgia State University or something, Arizona
Right.
State University, they will tell you that, if you join this webinar, if you join this webinar, you can get an application fee waiver. And
Yes.
one thing I'll encourage my Ghanaian friends is, Fred talked about gatekeeping. There are certain people, when they come to certain schools in the US, they don't talk to anybody. When you ask them for help I've had someone who I reached out to someone I knew in the US to help a friend of mine to come to their school. And the person told me he should go and Google it. He can't. And so let's not gatekeep, because unity is strength. There are certain countries in Asia and other parts of the world that have a very great community. When you go to the department, you see 4 or 5 students from the country doing PhD in that department. So what happens in the next 5 to 7 years? They will all be working in top institutions, and then they will form a large community. So this place is so individualistic. It can be. So don't isolate yourself. Help someone to join you. It won't take anything away from you. Wouldn't you be happy to say, I've helped 10 people this year to come to schools in the US? So let's not gatekeep. Let's help each other. That's one thing I would say for my closing remarks. And for shout outs, I would like to say a big shout out to my wife, Joanna. Program na panti Michiao pa.
Hi, Joanna.
Yeah, Joanna, I want to say a big shout out to you, and also my baby boy Keon, who also, I'm sure he's also listening to my voice now on the Baddest Lab. I also say a big shout out to my family, who pushed me. My parents, they really supported my dreams, because back then when I was coming, I was not really doing any like full-time work, whilst doing my master's. So they supported me in terms of like the things I needed, in terms of money and all that. Sometimes they would help, and the emotional support. So my parents, and my mom came to the US this Christmas, to my graduation. So, Ma, I hope you've not missed the US too much. And my dad and all my siblings and all my friends who I used to talk to study abroad, talk about my dreams about in Ghana. All of us are now in the US, but we don't talk to each other.
Right.
We used to talk about how we would do PhD, we will apply to these schools. About 6 or 7 of my friends, we barely hear from each other, now. So I shout outs to all of them, and and everybody watching as well. Thank you for joining.
So are you Pojoba, like George is asking?
Oh yes, I'm a Pojoba. Yeah, Pojoba.
Okay.
I went to Pope John Senior High School.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Yeah, we are wrapping up, but I think Rec is having a good question. That did you interview with the committee for your PhD, and how was it like?
Okay, so I did an interview with my professor. So I didn't, unlike other PhD programs, I didn't interview with the whole committee. I did an interview with I did 2 interviews with my professor, who went to the committee to kind of present my CV. Some universities, you just talk to the professor, and then the professor will go and lobby for you that this is a student coming, this is his expertise. So that's what that was my experience, and it went really well. She wanted to know, one of the main things the professor wanted to know was to understand why I was leaving my country and my family as a young person to move oceans away to a different country. What is the catch? Like, that was the main thing she wanted to know, that why are you moving? Because many people in this country, like citizens, will not typically do that.
Yeah.
Many Americans will not just get up and say they are going to maybe Spain to go and study or maybe something. So she wanted to know, and then I made her understand that I wanted to build my capacity. I feel I can impact my country sooner or later more when I come and build my capacity in the US. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So it's been a great session. Thank you for coming on, Doc. And this is your home. Anytime, any day, you can just pass by if you want us to have another conversation. We really
Sure.
appreciate it. It's been a little bit of a back and forth arranging the whole thing till now. So
I know.
shout out to the entire team at the background as well. There are people behind the scenes that work with the Fred Effect team that are on screen. So yeah, thank you so much. Regards to your wife, regards to your newborn baby. Wish you all the best, and we'll meet at the top, obviously.
Sure, definitely.
Thank you, sir. All right. Kekele, any final words? Then we wrap up.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting conversation, and I've of course learned so much from Dr. Nyantechi. I love to have conversations with really smart minds, and I'm glad I got to do this. Thank you, the Fred Effect, for the opportunity, and I look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kekele. So that was Kekele, who co-hosted the podcast today. Remember, we started about 2 hours ago, and so if you're just joining us, we started with the March application fee waiver for the state of Georgia. So Georgia has an application fee waiver month every year, and I've been talking about this for years now. So in March, they waive application fee for almost all the colleges and universities in the state of Georgia. And so if you have family members there and then they want to help you out, study abroad, talk to them about this, is a good opportunity. So if you watch the beginning of the session, our intro was about the application fee waiver month in Georgia. And then we also spoke about currently, if you're working on the visa application process to study in the US, you are in Ghana, there are currently no appointment dates on the calendar, but please do not, you don't have to panic. Just pay the visa application fee, start your DS-160, start preparing for the visa interview. You are definitely going to get a date. Also, do not communicate to your school telling them that, oh, we are struggling to get a date. We are in March. You will get a date by July, June, and then you can go for your visa interview. Remember, the Fred Effect team has a mock interview platform. So it's a proprietary platform. It's been there for more than half a decade. We've had opportunity to assist thousands of people get their visas approved. If you are preparing for the visa interview, just send us a direct message on Instagram. We'll be happy to assist you, join the platform and also prepare with other people for your visa interview. We also have a collaboration with AgoVisa. AgoVisa is a team of ex-visa officers. Now, they have been approving people's visas. They've been interviewing a lot of people in the past, and now they are retired. So what they do is that they use their time to help you prepare for whether an immigrant or a non-immigrant visa. The whole process is a bit lengthy and, involves a lot of time and effort. The last section of the process is your visa interview. If you have an opportunity to speak with an ex-visa officer who can guide you on how to strategize your answers, you may be a brilliant student. You may you have a full scholarship. You may have, a good program. But if without a good strategy, getting the visa approved might be challenging. So, there is an ex-visa officer who can help you prepare for your visa interview. So talk to AgoVisa to help you prepare for your visa interview. Also, you have to remember that the Fred Effect team has a means of helping people who want to, let's see, okay. So the Fred Effect team has a means of helping people working on their study abroad process. So if you want to pay your visa application fee, if you want to pay your service fee, if you want to pay an enrollment deposit, there is a means by which we can help you do that. So you can talk to us via Instagram on our verified platform, and we'll help you, make the payment for either the enrollment deposit, the visa application fee, the service fee. All you need to do is to just send us a message on Instagram. So application fees, if you're writing any of the TOEFL English proficiency test, enrollment deposit, GRE fees, service fee, school fees. You know, the service fee cannot be paid in Ghana if you're Ghanaian. So you need to generate the coupon, send it to somebody in the US, and we are a trusted brand that will help you make those payments as well. If you want a transcript evaluation, paywares and Spantran and all that, we can help you do that. It's been a great session. Thank you for tuning in today. Next week we'll come your way with another insightful section. Please be positive and know that everything will be fine. We'll see you next week.